It's not uncommon for politics to mix with the beautiful game, but there are few countries where that connection is more intertwined than with Iran, where it's common for the government to use political pressure to influence aspects of the game, and its people to use the powerful transcendence of the game to break free of the everyday political pressures. Heading into 2026, with their international ties as frayed and charged as ever, Iran is hoping to impress on the field, even as circumstances remain uncertain off of it. Welcome to Kickback Soccer Media's World Cup Capsules, where you'll learn everything you need to know about all 48 of the national teams competing at the 2026 World Cup, from the history of the game, the nation's current World Cup trajectory, unsung heroes, and cultural moments. I'm David Goss, and today we're talking about Team Melli, Iran. Similar to Qatar and other Gulf states, soccer got to Iran through foreign workers working in the oil industry. Traces of the game go back to the late 1890s, but the locals didn't start picking it up until the early 1900s. Things slowed down a bit during World War I, but in 1920, a number of Iranian and British football enthusiasts founded the Iranian Football Association to encourage Iranian players and to popularize the game. Before the national team was even formed, there were select teams representing Iran who played abroad in the USSR and in Baku. The first match that the Iranian national football team played was on August 25th, 1941, away at Afghanistan. Iran joined FIFA in 1948. They joined the Asian Football Confederation in 1958 and started a nationwide league in 1960. Iran then dominated the continent. They won the Asian Cup in 1968, 72, and 76. They're the only team ever to win the tournament 3 times in a row. Iran's domestic league was also thriving, but the Islamic Revolution and the Iran-Iraq War derailed soccer in the country for most of the 1980s. Iran missed out on several World Cups due to withdrawing from qualifying. Despite having one of the best leagues in Asia with some high-quality players performing at a high level in Europe, Iran has failed to win the Asian Cup since 1976 and have never made it past the group stage of the World Cup. The country sports a strong league with 2 of the biggest names in all of Asian soccer, and Esteghlal and Persepolis, forming one of the great rivalries in the world sport. The 2 of them are 2 of the most successful teams in the Asian Champions League, and altogether 9 different times an Iranian team has made it to an AFC Champions League final. That is 4th all-time cumulative for one nation in the Asian Federation. Team Melli have appeared in 6 World Cups, but their 2 most famous appearances have been inextricably linked with politics and the United States. At the 1998 World Cup, the second group match in Group F was between the U.S. and Iran. The match was described as the most politically charged game in World Cup history. Longtime political adversaries dating back through the Iranian Revolution and the Iran hostage crisis, the Iran-U.S. World Cup match was preheated with certain excitement. The match even reached the presidential level, with Bill Clinton speaking to the nation before the game.
As we cheer today's game between American and Iranian athletes, I hope it can be another step toward ending the estrangement between our nations.
In an act of defiance against all forms of hatred or politics in sports, both sides presented one another with gifts of flowers and took a ceremonial photo before the kickoff. But behind the scenes, it was a little more complicated. According to FIFA regulations, teams in each match are classified as Team A and Team B. Team B, Iran in this match, typically walks towards Team A for that pre-match handshake you've seen many times. The referee in the middle, one team walking across the other. But the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, gave express orders that Iranian team must not walk towards the American. Mehrad Massoudi, one of the FIFA media officials of the match, negotiated behind the scenes with the U.S. team, and as a result, the U.S. players walked towards the Iranians. During the carefully choreographed pregame ceremony, the Iranian players presented white roses to their American opponents as a symbol of peace. Iran then went out on the field and did the business. A 2-1 win eliminated the U.S. from the tournament and handed Iran a historic World Cup win. The match had a profound impact on the career of one Iranian American, Ashvin Ghotbi. He was working as part of the technical staff for the U.S. men's national team. He was an engineer who had played for U.S. coach Steve Sampson when he was younger and was hired to work part-time because of his background with computers. The emotional game between the U.S. and Iran persuaded Ashvin into entering the path as a football coach. Ultimately, after stops in South Korea and with some of the biggest teams in the world, he took charge of the Iranian national team from 2009 to 2011, the first American-born coach to coach Iran. Jeff Agus, a former U.S. defender who was on the field that day, said, quote, "We did more in 90 minutes than the politicians did in 20 years." 2022 was the rematch. The two teams were paired up again in the final group game of Group B in Qatar.
The U.S. men's soccer team is gearing up for a must-win match tomorrow against Iran at the World Cup.
This is more than a typical soccer match. Before the teams face off on the field, political issues are creating a contentious atmosphere.
Leading up to the match, Iran had already been under pressure. Iranian players made headlines in their opening match against England after refusing to sing the national anthem in solidarity with the Mahsa Amini protests that were ongoing inside of Iran in favor of women's rights and against the government. Star striker Sardar Azmoun had made social media posts leading up to the tournament supporting the protests, and there were questions on if he would be left out of the side. Head coach Carlos Queiroz said the players were free to protest if they chose to, but also was pushing back against the media trying to politicize his players. During the second game against Wales, the Iranian supporters inside the stadium were split. Some booed during the national anthem in support of the protests, and others were in favor of the regime. The players were shown to be singing the national anthem in the second game. Documents obtained by Iran International showed Iran was coordinating secret efforts with Qatar to try and control who attends the World Cup inside the stadiums and restrict any signs of dissent. Ahead of Iran's final group stage match against the U.S., the rematch, the Iranian players were allegedly called into a meeting with members of the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, and were threatened with violence and torture for their families if they did not sing the national anthem or join the protests against the Iranian regime. On top of all of that, ahead of the game, the U.S. Soccer Federation posted a preview image with a flag of Iran that did not include the Islamic Republic emblem in the middle. It was said to have been done for 24 hours to show solidarity with the protesters. This then led to intense questioning of U.S. players, including an Iranian journalist ambushing the U.S. captain Tyler Adams, first on his mispronunciation of Iran, and then on why he represents a country that the journalist said suppressed black people.
Our country is named Iran, not Iran. There's so much discrimination happening against black people in America.
You know, there's discrimination everywhere you go. We're continuing to make progress every single day.
The U.S. won the match 1-0, securing their passage into the next round, sending the Iranians home. But the beautiful game once again connected. Many of the U.S. players, immediately after the final whistle, spent their time comforting their Iranian opponents, who were extremely emotional upon being eliminated on the field. Once again, the beautiful game's ability to connect in ways that politicians never could. Iran is one of the teams who benefited, you could say, from this expanded format, as it made their qualification a bit more straightforward. They just had to win their group, and their group was considered fairly easy. Uzbekistan, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kyrgyzstan, and North Korea. Ardashir Amir Ghalenoei was appointed as the head coach in March of 2023. He was undefeated in his first 18 matches, which were mostly friendlies. His first loss came at the 2023 Asian Cup semifinals, where they lost 3-2 to the host and eventual champions Qatar. Despite the overwhelmingly positive results, Ghalenoei is viewed as a, quote, boring and kick-and-rush type of coach who focuses on defensive stability and long balls. But his record does not lie. 27-5-3 is possibly the best in the world at the moment. And with the World Cup expanding and this Iran team on fire, this is their best chance to make it out of the group stage for the first time. One of the players who will look to become a household name for the first time at the 2026 World Cup is 24-year-old forward winger Allahyar Sayyadmanesh, who currently plays for Westerlo in the Belgian top division. He impressed at youth levels and earned a contract with one of the biggest clubs in Iran, Esteghlal. After just one season, Turkish giants Fenerbahce signed him for $850,000. He didn't play much there and bounced around on a few loans to the Turkish 2nd Division, Ukrainian League, and eventually Hull City, which turned into a permanent but ultimately unsuccessful move. His switch to Belgium has been much more fruitful. He was named one of the 16 best young talents in world football by The Guardian, an Iranian Young Player of the Year back in 2019. And while he's been in and out of the national team, he has yet to have a true breakthrough moment for Team Melli. That's largely because there are veteran players still in the spots in front of him. But this might be the tournament for him to lay the groundwork to become the future star that Iran is looking for. Iran knows their big global superstars. Up until pretty recently, if you took a look around some of world soccer's all-time global stats, appearances, goals, and all of that, Ali Daei, a legend of Iran and Asian soccer, would be one of the names you'd see over and over again. On the 17th of November 2004, Daei became the first male player with 100 international goals when he scored 4 times against Laos in 2006 World Cup qualifying. He captained the national team from 2000 to 2006 and was the world's top international scorer with 109 goals until both Cristiano Ronaldo and then Lionel Messi passed him. He is a legend of Iran and Asian soccer. In an interview with FIFA in 2024, he said, "It's a great honor. Football has always been a big part of my life, and being alongside players like Ronaldo and Messi makes all my hard work worth it. The achievement is more than just a number to me. It's a testament to the love I have for the game." He did it both on the international and on the club side. He had a 20-year pro career. In 2014, he was inducted into the Asian Football Hall of Fame and is considered one of the best to find the back of the net. No aspect of the game in Iran is seemingly without heavy political implications. Following the 1979 Islamic Revolution, women were banned from stadiums in Iran. Since the mid-2000s, there have been many peaceful protests and pressure on the Iranian government to end the ban. From the mid-2010s, Iranian women found a way to bypass the watchful eye of security forces and clerics who enforced the ban on women in stadiums. Women have dressed up as men and gone into the stadiums in hiding. Here is a trigger warning for some violence that is coming up in the show. Sahar Kodayari was one of the women who snuck into the stadium dressed as a man. She is known now as the Blue Girl. She was arrested afterwards and put on trial. She was charged with, quote, openly committing a sinful act by appearing in public without a hijab and insulting officials. While no verdict was delivered in her case because the judge was unavailable at the time, she was reportedly told she might face a 6-month jail sentence. After Kodahari left the courthouse, she poured gasoline on herself and set herself on fire outside the building. There was, understandably, worldwide and internal anger about Kodahari's death across Iran. The incident happened in September of 2019. In October of 2019, Iranian women were allowed to attend a football match in Iran for the first time in 40 years. However, not long after, in 2022, Iranian women were blocked from entering the stadium for a World Cup qualifier once again. Despite FIFA's clear orders for women's unrestricted access to all stadiums in Iran, some stadiums still do not allow women to enter, and others, women are allowed entry selectively. As we said, this Iran team is going to be one of the most politically charged in this World Cup. There is a travel ban that has been put in place by the United States government against members of the Iranian government or Iranian citizens from getting visas, one that has been getting more and more stringent. There is a loophole for athletes for high-level performances, but as we saw in the lead up to the draw, in which Iran was not granted the full visas for all their members of their federation and then threatened to boycott, this is going to be a consistent issue for Iran trying to access the United States and wherever they end up playing in the U.S. One of the main issues around the visa process for the World Cup draw was that the president of the Iranian FA is a former member of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, which is a portion of the Iranian military. It is deemed a terrorist organization by the United States. Any current or former member cannot be granted a visa. That also applies in Canada, where the IRGC has also been put as a terrorist entity, and any person who was a member of it or is a member of it will be denied a visa to enter that country. This goes back to 2022, where a Ukrainian airline plane was shot down over Tehran. The 174 people that were killed on that plane, 85 of them were Canadian residents or Canadian citizens. The IRGC is at fault for that plane being shot down. And later that year, in preparations for the 2022 World Cup, the Canadian Soccer Association had organized a friendly against Iran in Vancouver. There were massive protests from the families of the victims who were on that plane, as well as government officials, including the Prime Minister himself, saying, I don't believe it's a good idea to bring Iran to come and play here. Less than a week before the game was scheduled to be played, the Canadian Soccer Association canceled the friendly, and Iran did not end up coming. Since then, the Canadian government has continued to upgrade its controls against any member of the Islamic Republic of Iran's government, and especially any member, current or former, of the IRGC. So it is going to be a politically intense moment for Iran almost anywhere they play in the three host countries. We love to leave you with a fun fact and a preview here at Kickback Media. The fun fact: very famous, the Persian cat from ancient Persia is one of the oldest breeds. They came from the high plateaus where their long, fluffy fur protected them from the cold. They were brought to Europe by Italian traders in the 17th century, where they quickly became an exotic status symbol. On the field, this is an Iranian team that knows who they are. They've gone deep in Asian Cup tournaments. They've played in big moments, including at the 2022 World Cup. And they are one that should have massive support in the U.S. because of the huge diaspora community. Now that, as all stories we have told here, will be politically charged. Many of the people who are Iranian in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico left because of the revolution. And while they love this team and love these players, they do not support the government. So it'll be fascinating to see what the crowds look like in the stadiums. But I was at an Iran World Cup game in Russia in 2018 against Morocco, and I can tell you, they are some of the best fans I have ever been around. I still have chills thinking about that game. Carlos Queiroz being lifted into the air after Iran secured the upset victory, and the pure white across the stadium with all of the Iranian fans dressed up and ready to go. So I'm excited to see them on the field. I'm excited to see them in the competition. And you should stay tuned for the rest of Kickback's World Cup capsules. And make sure to follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, and anywhere you get your podcasts.